Asta spent 15 months getting stronger and still got bodied by the Wizard Emperor Lucius Agratus. Lucius' plan is to change the world. He's going to save it, turn everybody into paladins, paladins being these weird angelic-like beings. Lucius and his army of paladins has declared war on the world. In 7 days, Judgment Day will arrive, and humanity's final holy war will take place. Lucius blatantly states that he is coming to end Yuno's life. Yuno has been pitted to be the next person to fight Lucius, as he vows to get vengeance on him for killing Asta, thus saving the world and becoming the Wizard King. Oddly enough, this has led many in the fandom to question, what in the world is Yuno going to do to stop Lucius? With many believing that he has no chance to defeat him, but I completely disagree with this take. Just because Yuno was weaker than 50% Lucifero, doesn't mean that he wouldn't be strong enough after 15 months to fight Lucius, or that he could not adapt to Lucius' power and eventually surpass the evil Wizard Emperor. So I thought it would be a great idea to discuss how Yuno, the Chosen One, can save the world. Let's get into this video that is pretty much discussing Yuno's full potential, as Tabata has left more than enough breadcrumbs for us to determine how Yuno can possibly stand up to Lucius Agratus. So there will be 2 parts to this video. The first will be answering the question of, is Yuno strong enough to beat Lucius? Or will he become strong enough? The second part of this video will be discussing if Yuno has the proper modality needed to defeat Lucius. Can he actually go against time and soul magic? Does he have the abilities to finish him off? That will be the second part of the video, so there will be these segments time-stamped in the description. Now, the weirdest thing that I see people say is that because Yuno needed help from other characters to do barely anything to Lucifero, then it means he has no shot against Lucius, who absorbed all of Lucifero's power, as well as many other devils. But this is erroneous. The Yuno that will be fighting Lucius is much stronger than the one who fought Lucifero. Remember, there was a 15-month time skip after the battle with Lucifero. Yuno has gotten so strong that even his base power can cause a supreme devil like Adramalik to run away in fear. The second gate devil was shocked. He knew that Yuno was a 4-leaf clover user, and yet didn't believe that he could get that strong over a 15-month period. Remember that Adramalik witnessed Yuno's full spirit dive 15 months prior. Yet he's actually shocked about Yuno's base power. Yuno was fighting side by side with Hellfire Mereoleona, who was growing stronger by the instant, and yet Yuno constantly kept up with her and matched her, meaning that Yuno was getting stronger by the second as well. This would actually be an implication that Yuno has surpassed the power of his full spirit dive in only his base form, meaning that if Yuno were to transform into his full spirit dive on top of his new base power, that he would likely be far stronger than Lucifero. This type of power-up is supported by precedent in the series, as in the time skip between the Elf Arc and the Spade Saga, Yuno actually surpassed his Elf Arc power with his base form. We can prove that by bringing up statements from the manga, as well as feats from the anime canon. According to the stage system, Stage 1 can keep up in a fight with a devil stronger than Zagred. And by that logic, since Stage 0s are considered to have a wide gap above Stage 1, this means that Stage 0 would be able to fight a devil stronger than Zagred pretty well. This alone shows a huge power increase for Yuno, in the manga alone, as just his regular spirit dive was considered to be Stage 0. That would mean that just regular spirit dive Yuno will be able to fight well against a devil stronger than Zagred. Retrospectively, we can go back to the Elf Saga and see how big of a power gap this is. It's pretty wild. Remember, Stage 1 can keep up in a fight with a devil stronger than Zagred. Yuno in his spirit dive was essentially nothing to Zagred. Even when he got Asta's help and went spirit dive 2, they were completely dominated by Zagred, which means that Yuno can certainly not be considered Stage 1 here, let alone Stage 0. Because that was also a Zagred who had not even attained his Grimoire yet, and was also suppressing his power. So a double nerf Zagred, Yuno is nothing in comparison to him, so that is how much stronger Yuno has gotten. His regular Spirit Dive 1 is way stronger than his old Spirit Dive 2. Now I can show you that Zagred actually wasn't even using close to his full power when he fought Yuno and Asta, because when Licht uses his ultimate magic and hits Zagred, Yami states that Licht's spell didn't even dent Zagred's magic power, meaning that Zagred was using a small fraction of his power against Licht and Lumiere, and he was using more power against them than when he fought Asta and Yuno. Considering Yuno needed Zephyr to fight a full power Zagred, as well as this light spell that amped him by Lumiere, this means that in just 6 months' time, Yuno's regular Spirit Dive surpassed his Spirit Dive to Zephyr, with Lumiere's light amp on top of that. Simply including the anime canon would just prove that base Yuno surpassed Zagred, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. But if Yuno can get this much stronger in 6 months, then there is no reason to assume his base couldn't surpass his full spirit dive in 15 months, especially when it's backed up by statements of Adrammelech fearing his post-time skip base, despite not even wincing at full spirit dive Yuno 15 months prior. So using Spade Saga Yuno to try and downplay his ability to beat Lucius is kinda weird, especially when you take on Lucius' own calculations into account. Of the tens of thousands of futures that Lucius can see, the only person that he sees beating him is Yuno. So let's give Yuno some credit based off of that. Now this doesn't mean that Yuno will win, as technically Lucius cannot see Asta or Ryu's future either, because they are magicless, so they could still play a part in his defeat. But I agree, Yuno isn't going to defeat Lucius on his own. But that doesn't mean he's not going to put up a good fight and he's just going to get completely bodied like a lot of the fandom's going to say. In fact, I believe Yuno's battle will be very important to the series. Either Yuno will land a blow on Lucius that weakens him for the final battle, that helps lead to his defeat, or he will discover a weakness in Lucius' soul magic that will lead to his defeat as well. Anyways, that whole discussion proves that Yuno's lack of power in the Spade Saga is not relevant when comparing him to Lucius now. There are many incredibly obvious things that Yuno can do in order to help him defeat Lucius, but I'd rather focus on the less obvious things first. Like, Yuno's very nature might make him an automatic weakness for Lucius. Lucius has soul magic. Yuno's body has 2 souls. What happens if Yuno gets touched? I believe there are 2 routes to where it could advantage Yuno. As the soul of the son of Licht and Tetia, who I often call Licht Jr., is still inside of Yuno. Well, Tabata has left enough information that implies that Lucius' soul magic does not work as well on souls that share a body, as Lucius' soul manipulation is shown to not fully work on Julius. Remember that Lucius can brainwash people with his soul magic, but he could not brainwash Julius, otherwise he would have been fully on board with him and his plans. Instead, Lucius had to seal his soul away, and this means that Julius is possibly dead, but he actually still may be alive, but still, this shows a limit to Lucius' soul magic when it's another soul inside of a same body. So if having 2 souls in one body is a way to partially counter Lucius' soul magic, then Yuno is in luck. The first route of what I believe will happen is Lucius touches Yuno, he inserts a devil inside of Yuno and then purifies it, turning Yuno into a paladin. The issue for Lucius is that he actually only did this to Licht Jr.'s soul, which means that Yuno still has full control of his body in this situation. Now, Yuno has the power of a devil purified inside of him, likely granting him an entire 3rd attribute, as well as a massive boost in magic power. This could parallel the Elf arc, like how Yuno transformed into the enemy that was Elf Yuno, but he was still in control while keeping the full power of the Elf form. So Paladin Yuno would be a parallel to that and be a way for him to be strong enough to possibly fight Lucius. Or maybe it will be the opposite. Lucius' soul magic works on Yuno, but Licht Jr. takes over to maintain control of the body and fights in Yuno's stead. The other scenario was recommended to me by Dr. 3PI on Discord. This scenario would also be very interesting and would actually provide several narrative parallels to earlier in the series. The scenario involves Lucius plucking Licht Jr.'s soul from Yuno's body and using his amazing power to recreate Licht Jr.'s body. After incarnating a devil into Licht Jr., Lucius then turns Licht Jr. into a paladin. Now, Yuno must utilize his own star magic and face off against Paladin, Licht Jr., and a likely brainwashed Bell as well. This would heavily parallel when Asta was forced to fight Liebe in a devil binding ritual. Asta lost all of his anti-magic power and even his arm, and could only use 1 sword in the Grimoire. Asta could only use his own innate power, but he won, and him beating Liebe led to Asta's powerful devil union. So possibly Yuno will have to defeat Paladin Licht Jr., and once he does, he would retake Licht Jr. in his wind powers, but also gain the Paladin form and the additional attribute he would gain from the Purified Devil. Now, which devil do I think that Lucius could try to incarnate inside of Yuno? If not for Lily having Beelzebub, I believe it would be him. But now he's not available, that's Lily's. I believe the devil power that Yuno will gain will be Zagred's. This would make sense narratively. Licht Jr. was killed by Zagred, so this could be a way to get his vengeance, or it would be a travesty. Yuno has to fight the power of the first devil he fought once more. This time the terrible power is purified inside the person who's been with him the longest, that same person who was killed by that very devil power. But in terms of the future of the series, we know it's likely that Black Clover will end with a fight between Asta and Yuno. Word Soul Magic would be one of the best magical powers Yuno could use, because then he could create physical weapons to help him fight against Asta's anti-magic. So that's the sort of less obvious way that I think Yuno can compete with Lucius. But what about the more obvious ways? The most obvious, of course, would be Yuno's 4th spirit weapon. We already know 3 of his weapons, Zephyr, Boreas, and Eurus. Each of these weapons are based off the anemoi from Greek mythology. The anemoi are the 4 gods of wind that represent the 4 cardinal directions. The final remaining Greek god that Yuno has yet to make a spirit weapon out of is Notice. Though I'm thinking it might be better if Yuno makes armor instead of a weapon, as if Lucius touches Yuno's armor instead of his magic, it might protect him from the soul magic. Whatever Yuno's Notice is, it's going to likely be featured in the encounter with Lucius and be important, but no matter what it is, it'll be a very powerful spell. Now there is this really weird thing going on with Yuno, this wrap around his arm, possibly a bandage. This has caused a lot of speculation in the community. What is it, and why is it there? When we see Yuno fight a Dromlex squad of high-ranked devils, Yuno's arm looks fine. It makes me think that maybe it was an injury from a Dromlek, but if Yuno is supposed to be the one who can defeat Lucius, how would he have taken any damage from a Dromlek, who's only the 2nd gate devil? Unless if a Dromlek got way stronger over 15 months, which that is possible, but I'm not sure if it's the most likely case. There is another really interesting idea, and that is that Yuno is going to parallel Asta even more. See, Asta lost his arm to a devil. This wrap is around Yuno's opposite arm. Asta and Yuno always parallel each other like this image here. This could be something like Yuno making a deal with Bel. Maybe his arm is now made of pure nature's mana, similar to Fagolion's arm being made of flames after attaining the Fire Spirit Salamander. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that Yuno actually made a deal with Bel. As we saw with Merliona, when she got too close to mana, her arm started to break apart. Maybe his arm is like this because he's becoming too close to Mana, or he's actually getting too close to Bel, that the two of them are becoming one. This might allow for him to have a much more powerful Saint stage when he faces off against Lucius. Yuno actually has a lot of pathways to get stronger. Prior to the time skip, he's never learned or used true magic or rune arrays. We know that learning to use that nature's mana to that extent with runes and arrays leads to absolutely incredible power-ups. This is part of the main reason why the Heart Squad got so strong when training within the Heart Kingdom for those 6 months. Because of Yuno's already incredible mana sensory and ability to manipulate and control nature's mana, he'd likely be a natural at true magic. I mean, look how quickly luck caught on to creating runes. Yuno would catch on way quicker. This leads right into ultimate magic, which in a sense is learning more of the soul and getting close to mana itself. Now many people have asked me if Yuno will learn true magic so they can use ultimate magic. This is what the Heart Squad did, but elves can do ultimate magic inherently because they are loved by mana. And that would mean Yuno wouldn't actually need to learn true magic to use ultimate magic. Yuno is already loved by mana. This is why he was able to resist Xenon's absolute space. So yeah, Yuno can still whip out ultimate magic. Yuno likely would have 2 different ultimate magic spells too. Since ultimate magic is tied to the soul, and Yuno has 2 souls and 2 grimoires, grimoires also being tied to the soul, Yuno likely has 1 wind ultimate spell and 1 star ultimate magic spell. Hell, he might even be able to combine the 2 separate ultimate magics into a single one. Ultimate magic essentially represents the user. For example, Luck is a lightning fiend because he's a battle fiend. Seeing as Yuno is essentially triple royalty, he's a Spade royal, and the other soul in him is Elven royalty and Clover royalty. He also wants to become the Wizard King, so his ultimate magic could be Wind King or Star King. And when he combines the ultimate magics, it could be called the King of the Solar Wind or something like that. Seeing as Solar Wind is a real world phenomena, this would be a badass power to see Yuno wielding against Lucius. Maybe while Yuno uses both of his grimoires, he actually fuses them together into a single one, a grimoire of Solar Wind. Grimoire fusion would be pretty dope to see, not gonna lie. One of the more interesting things that Yuno can do is actually use his magic stone. Now this might seem obvious, but Yuno has actually never used it. Well, technically, he did use it once, but it was not on purpose. The magic stone just activated and it let him inside of the Shadow Palace. But we know what magic stones do. They can be used to augment people's magic or use forbidden spells. This would have to be some sort of a give and take for Yuno, as using the negative mana inside of the stones could be risky, as they would risk him falling into the chaotic darkness like those before him, and cause him to lose his 4-leaf clover into that of a 5th leaf. Oh shit. Maybe that's what a Dromlek is getting out of this. His deal of working with Lucius is contingent on if when Yuno falls, a Dromlek gets to take Yuno's grimoire and manifest his true power. Maybe that will need to be its own theory in the coming months. Anyways, back to Yuno's magic stone. We know that at least when it's in the Shadow Palace, it allows for the wielder to summon what they want from the underworld. If Yuno can figure out how to do this without the use of the Shadow Palace, maybe he can use the stone to summon more souls from the underworld. We know that souls go to the underworld, as we see them traveling to the Shadow Palace, which is the border between the living world and the underworld. And it was stated that the human souls from the elven reincarnation would be sent to the underworld after it was successful. So if he can summon souls from the underworld, and he can use these souls to protect him from Lucius's soul magic, it would certainly be an interesting application of the power. So yeah, I don't understand why a large portion of the fandom is so concerned that Yuno has zero shot against Lucius. Nah, he just had a 15-month time skip where he's likely mastered his star magic to a similar degree to his wind. And I personally believe that him having 2 souls in a single body is going to be a massive advantage in this fight. Is Yuno going to win? No, he's very likely not going to, because it's going to have to be an Asta W in the final battle. But maybe Yuno will help Asta win in that final battle. But I believe Yuno's fight will have a lasting impact on the series. Either 1, Yuno wounds Lucius, and this wound produces everlasting effects that helps lead to his downfall later on, similar to what Stars and Stripes intended to do to Shigaraki in My Hero Academia. 2, Yuno loses, but he discovers Lucius's weakness or counter in the process. This allows for the good guys to improvise and devise a plan that will lead to his downfall in the final Holy War. 3, Yuno puts up a good fight, but ultimately loses and gets turned into a paladin. But unlike I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Yuno is a paladin entirely against his will, and he will need to be stopped at some point, or Yuno will just straight up die. And this will act as considerable motivation for Asta for the end of the series, and for him to get revenge on Lucius the Gratis, the Wizard Emperor. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I just find it a little wild that people are so concerned and don't think Yuno has a chance against Lucius the Gratis, when he actually has some of the most potential left over any character in the series, because like I said, he might even be able to do combo spells within himself. I don't really see why it's such a crazy thing. Now, of course, I don't think anybody believes that Yuno is actually going to defeat Lucius. I mean, it could happen. Maybe he's not the actual final villain, but I doubt it. But I just don't see the notion that he's just going to get completely stomped. Tabata is setting up so it's going to be a good fight, and I fully believe it. Let me know your thoughts on the video down below. Is there anything that I missed on what Yuno can do to get way stronger, and what he can do to defeat Lucius? Please let me know. So today's video is sponsored by me and you, and that is the members of this channel. If you want to become a member of the channel, you get access to a bunch of cool different emotes and other rewards, but I want to tell you guys that the biggest thing I am doing now is that for all members, you'll be getting a exclusive member video every single week. If you become a Brigade Captain member, you'll get an extra video per month on top of those one video every single week. And all Wizard King level members will be getting 2 exclusive member videos per week. That is 8 to 9 videos per month at $15 a month, which is less than $2 a video. And that is also on top of other rewards, like you'll be getting access to the Wizard King Roundtable, which is a discussion I'll have with all of you guys every single month. So if you guys really want to help support the channel and you also want extra videos on the side besides my video projects I'm currently doing, then please become a member. You will get a lot of extra videos as well as helping support the channel. The member videos this week will be for all members. Black Clover is stronger than you think, and for all Wizard King members, they will be getting our Paladin's Saint stage. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, comment your thoughts, and subscribe and turn notifications. You can join my Discord to get further discussions on Black Clover and other manga down below. Please click join to become a member of the channel and get access to many more videos and help support this channel. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace out.